my daily routine. I usually do this for 2 hours at a time, every day. If I behave outside of the system, then I'm not frustrated. The system is something separate. I do what I can to look after myself. There are ducks by the pool right now that I'm going to annoy. I'm going to charge up the power before I hit the jacuzzi. I'm going to do the jacuzzi for a bit. I warm up in the jacuzzi and I pummel to get my lymphatic system moving. If the lymphatic system is moving, it can see the cancer and attack it. I usually end up feeling pretty rough at the end of this session. It's all good. They're all chilling in the pool, so I'm going to chill in the jacuzzi. I use the jacuzzi to warm up, and I use the jet nozzles all around my hip to start moving some of the sludge out of the lymph nodes. And then I go into the pool doing a cold plunge to kind of reset the system. When I first walk to the pool, there doesn't appear to be any sign of limping. But what I do is I test my balance. And here I can see one foot is slightly lower than the other. So one leg is actually slightly shorter than the other, which seems insignificant, but the source is inflammation in my hip, which is causing my muscles to twist my pelvis and shorten my leg. And I can see on the left-hand side there, it's a little weak, so I fell in. The cold immediately sends a shock through the system, and I test my plyometrics by trying to jump out of the pool, which I'm doing here from my left leg. Then I start to test the balance and extreme range of motion that I have on that side of the body, and I compare both sides. And as I do the routine over and over, the inflammation clears out, and you can see in the second video, the inset video later on, that there is some improvement in the inflammation level in the hip as I manage to clear it out. Then my range of motion increases. You can also see that as I'm heading back and forth from the pool, I'm starting to get a bit of a limp because how can I put it? The nerve damage or the nerve weaknesses are starting to become apparent, where I am losing the ability to communicate with those muscles because the nerves are under so much stress. So it's not a bad thing, because you need to stress those nerves in order for them to trigger to regrow. So I usually use this exercise to compare the free range of motion in its extended position at the end of the session, and usually there's some improvement. So when I first started doing this, I couldn't lift my leg up that high to begin with. Towards the end of the session, and I think this is the last plunge I'm doing. Yes, this is the last plunge I'm doing before I come back and talk to you all.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. I am not replying to requests. This is my time for me.
So I'm not doing challenges, this is just doing my own
I'm
thing.
doing my own thing.
And you can either
understand
or doesn't matter.
or it doesn't matter. I really appreciate you, Tony. He came up in the comments and started shutting people down that were asking me to do handstands in the water. I do the handstands and the balancing because it tests whether the meridians, which are the highways from my brain, are fully connected to my body. I can feel where the meridians are particularly weak, particularly down my left side where they are diseased and weak from inflammation. This is why I do the cold plunges, because the cold plunges are a shock to the system, and then you go into the jacuzzi to warm up, and you get very overloaded quickly from the energy coming into your body, and you sense pins and needles, and pins and needles is the actual nerves almost exploding at the seams from the amount of energy they have to transfer, and they can't because it's a lot of energy under pressure. So the myelin sheaths around the nerves are essentially bursting at the seams. It's meant to be uncomfortable because that's the only way you can heal and you can grow. Healing is uncomfortable in many different ways. So going back to why I do cold plunges, it's the whole routine, not just the cold plunges. It's baffling the lymph nodes around the groin area and around my belly and my lower back to transport the thick, gooey inflammation out of the hip areas, so that when I test my balance after doing a cold plunge, you can see that I've now got regained communication with those muscles, and I can now hold my leg up in the extended ranges of motion, which I wasn't able to do before. And here you can see me, I've noticed a couple of meridian spots that have opened up, and my left leg is actually a little bit more even to my right leg there in the balancing session. There are certain nerve lines that are just switched off, and it appears after the cold plunge as a slight limp, where I'm unable to communicate with my muscle. Because it's like there's a traffic jam there. The signals are bottlenecked, they're somehow blocked. I'll make note of the weakness to work on it. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a good thing to notice, because then you know you have inflammation and you have to remove that inflammation in order for that part of the body to heal from disease. I just noticed today, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I've developed what's called a mast cell reaction on my thighs, which is my immune system reacting to the jacuzzi. Not to the jacuzzi directly, but my activities make my immune system sense that I'm overloaded with illness, and it thinks that I am causing the discomfort. So it's decided that every time I hit the jacuzzi, I am attacking my body. So it's made me almost allergic to water. So every time I hit the water, this rash comes up, and it's very painful, very itchy, but it's okay. I'm going to teach my body that this is okay, and just relax after this session, and no stress, and it should be okay. I'm still programming my immune system to see the disease and attack the disease, and not me. At the moment, it's very confused because I'm so ill. So it's just taking every opportunity to try and slow down the amount of work that it has to do by trying to deter me from going in the jacuzzi, because 2 hours is a lot. The cancer is like a hamburger sitting in my belly, which my immune system has to digest at a cellular level. And normally we digest food in our stomachs, where there is muscle activity to grind it and mush it together. But I have to do this without a stomach. I have to do this outside of the stomach. So I have to use the pummeling of the jacuzzi nozzles to move my lymphatic system around so it can see the cancer and it can erode and eat away at it. But that puts a lot of pressure on my organs as the lymphatic system moves. When I do the cold plunges, it pushes the inflammation into my lymphatic system and into my liver, so it makes me feel very sick afterwards. The cold plunges are really useful because they show where I'm weak, and wherever I'm weak, I know there is inflammation, which I have to clear out. And clearing out the inflammation means that I can heal from the disease. I'm sad that I had to work through my chronic illness, which enabled the disease to grow. But I'm not scared at all. The body knows how to heal, and I just need to enable it. So I'm not scared at all. I'm just really sad. I'm sad that the American system doesn't support you. I'm really sad that you work really hard in this system and then you burn out. And then when you need help, you have to take out loans so that you can continue to survive in this system. They constantly deny and delay your diagnostics, and the risk is they will deny and slow it down to the point of no return. I call it the delay system, and the delay system is a good word for it, because the delay system is there to make the pharmaceutical companies money. So every person that becomes ill has a dollar value on their head to pay for the chronic illness treatments. It is not in their interest to let you heal. Why let you heal when they can milk you out of all the money you have earned until you expire?
Money to line their pockets, and they delay.
They want you to be ill because then you become a cash cow for them. So every month you have to pay for more medications. And as an example, when I was diagnosed last year on the cancer line, precursor to cancer, my medication was $460 a week. I cannot afford $460 a week when I would earn $520 a week, out of which I'm supposed to pay rent. So I had to take a loan at the beginning of the year to survive. And look where it's got me. I had to work to earn enough money to pay rent and pay the loan, and I'm now, the disease has advanced into cancer.
Yay! Okay. Show you indoors to my healing pod, and I'm going to start my healing day after I've done the work. This was the work that I did. So